You torch me? We'll send someone in.
Hello. Good morning. Hello. Let's see. Got Okie, Queen Bella, Winnie the Pup, Tasha, Cammy, Amethyst. Hello. I'm so glad. Yep, I'm so glad to see y'all this morning. Hey, True Texan. Here for the show, whatever it may be. Well, it's not a shit show today. Thank the Lord, baby Jesus. Oh, I hope everybody's having a good Tuesday. We're almost halfway through. Almost. I see everybody's sick. Y'all must be spreading your germs around in the Discord. What is going on? All my Discord people are sick. What is going on, guys? Let me see. I'm editing something really quick. Customization. Okay, now anyone subscribers. Okay. Let's come back over here. Good morning, Turtle Madness. Good morning. Hey, Toby. Sassy. Hey. So, have y'all heard the latest about Chad Doerman? For anybody who doesn't know, hold on. For anybody who doesn't know who this piece of shit is, let me hook y'all up. Let me remind y'all. Let's see. Let's see. I just want to find like a quick little recap. Okay. Hey, Casey. Hey, Granny Bassmaster. I cannot. Bassmaster. Hey. Oh, I know, Queen Bella. Isn't it awful? Like, bruh. Nah. Okay. So this is just a quick, like refresher on Chad Doerman.
Everyone in her family. It's on the corner of where there's a body shop and the fire department. And she says that her stepfather is killing everybody in her house.
This begins as a quiet day in Ohio. Then several gunshots rattle the neighborhood. A teenage girl runs into the street screaming, "Help! My stepfather is killing everyone." When police arrive, they find an emotionless dad, a .22 caliber rifle, and 3 dead children laying in their front yard, no older than 7. On a quiet Thursday morning in New Richmond, Ohio, all hell broke loose. Chad Doerman got home early from work that morning. He claims he hadn't slept in over 3 days. He gathers his wife and his 3 young sons, Chase, Hunter, and Clayton, together for a nap in the bedroom. And meanwhile, his 14-year-old stepdaughter stays out in the living room watching TV. After a minute, Chad climbs out of bed and he opens his gun safe. He pulls out a hunting rifle and he loads it. And we're not sure if his wife and kids were asleep while he loaded the gun. If they were, they jolted awake after Chad shot 4-year-old Hunter twice. At that moment, Chad's stepdaughter runs into the bedroom and she sees the entire thing. Her mother jumps on Hunter and she's trying to save his life, but it's useless. She screams for the other boys to run and they take off in opposite directions. 7-year-old Clayton runs out the back door towards an open field. His sister screams for him to keep running and never look back. And he is running for his life. When Chad blows by her and opens fire, he hits Clayton in the back, knocking him down. His stepdaughter watches in horror as Chad walks into the field and shoots the boy once in the head. And she remembers him turning back and looking at her, the face of pure evil. So she sprints into the house and she picks up her youngest brother, 3-year-old Chase. She runs out the front door, but Chad quickly catches up with her and he aims his rifle and he orders her, drop the baby. She's terrified, so she puts the boy down and she begs Chad not to do it. He turns the rifle on the 3-year-old and he tries to pull the trigger, but it doesn't fire. The police think that Chad probably ran out of ammo and he had to reload.
Hey,
Meanwhile,
Laura.
Chase runs back to his mother. Now she's carried Hunter's body into the yard and she's still trying to save him. Chad's stepdaughter takes off running. A woman driving by in her car sees her and stops. And the girl cries that her stepfather is killing everyone. And the woman tells her to get in the car, but the girl refuses to leave her family. Instead, she runs to the fire station, hoping that they can help. Now, Chad uses this time to grab Clayton's body from the field, and he carries him over his shoulder, and he drops him in the front yard with everyone else. Then he orders his wife to step away from Chase, but she refuses. So they start fighting, and Chad bites her to get her to let go. And they're wrestling over the gun, and her thumb winds up on the barrels. Chad fires, blowing it clean off. Now, the wound forces her to drop little Chase, and Chad stands over him and executes him at close range, one single shot to the head. From there, Chad sits on his front porch and lets his wife call 911. She tells the operator that her babies have been shot.
It's Laura Lindell Road.
Okay, and what did the female say to you?
And she says that her stepfather is killing everybody in her house.
Oh, are you inside where you're safe?
I'm standing outside where I can see the lady.
Okay.
I'm across the street at Lindale Automotive.
Can you tell how many people have been shot?
I think 2 children.
Okay. All right. What was
That
your
I've
name,
seen.
sir?
Now, a lot of 911 calls would soon come in. One from that woman who talked to Chad's stepdaughter, another from their neighbor across the street. Now, he saw Chad take a seat on his porch while his wife screams over the children's bodies in the yard. Now, here's where police body cam footage picks up the story.
Air Force, go ahead and fly whenever you need to.
Get your hands up here. Come on, point one. It's in the air.
There's got to be confirmed that there's people in the first aid, and that's the shooter. He's not complying. They need to take care of him.
What are you doing, man?
Hey, are you copying all this?
Can I roll over? I ain't gonna hurt you. I ain't gonna hurt nobody. You got anything on you? No, I ain't got nothing, man. Phone, that's it. I ain't mad. I ain't nothing. Just make sure that dog don't come out. I don't think he'll bite you. Just don't reach for him and try to grab him and pet him. He won't bite you. What's going on, man? Nothing. Can I stand up? It's kind of uncomfortable. I'm gonna get you here in a second. I ain't running away. You can do whatever you want.
The redacted black square is covering up Chad's wife and dead children. Just imagine what was going through those officers' minds as they approached the scene. The most chilling part about the body cam footage is how calm and collected Chad is. He's polite. He's friendly even. He asks to stand and he promises he won't hurt anybody. He never resists, and he even assures them that his dog won't bite unless they try to pet it. Now you can hear his wife screaming, "You took my life from me." And a lot of people think that that was exactly why Chad did what he did, to punish her. You can also see a blood stain on the back of Chad's shirt. Police think that that is Clayton's blood from when Chad picked him up and carried him to the front yard. By his own admission, Chad planned to murder his sons for several months. He hadn't slept for nearly 4 days because he said that the thought of having to kill his sons was so heavy. Now, 6 days before he executed them, he posted a picture of him with his sons giving a thumbs up to the camera. Now, that photo looks like any other adorable father and son photo, right? But neighbors paint a pretty grim picture of the family. One said that Chad had a nasty temper, that he yelled at his wife and kids constantly and treated them like garbage. He's quoted saying that Chad was angry every day. There wasn't a day that he didn't yell at his wife and kids out there. By out there, he probably means the front yard. So that's great. You're not only yelling at your wife and kids, but you're doing it in front of the neighbors. So something must have been boiling inside of him. Chad's father, Keith, certainly thinks so. He and his wife, Gloria, live down in Florida. And they're trying to understand why and how their son could do something so heinous. But really, of all people, his father should be the least surprised, because back in 2010, Chad got a domestic violence charge for choking him, but his father didn't follow up to make sure that he went to jail for it. Well, Chad won't avoid justice this time. So reality hit him at the police station. While he's waiting to be processed, he walks over to a cement wall and starts whacking his head against it. An officer steps in saying,
"Don't be doing that, man."
Maybe don't step in so quickly. It's fine. There's more pain headed his way, hopefully. Because as of July 2023, Claremont County is going for the death penalty. The lead prosecutor said, my goal is to see this man executed. Now, we'll learn more as Chad moves through the legal system, but for now, let's turn to what we know about the three little boys at the heart of this story. Clayton, also known as Clayton Man, loved playing with Legos and riding his go-kart. He was a singer and he loved telling jokes. He always looked after his younger brothers. Hunter, or Hunter Dog, loved baseball, and his coaches remember him as the kind of kid that you wanted on the team. And he always loved hanging by the creek and is trying to catch frogs. He never let a day pass without telling his mom and sister that he loved them. Chase, who the family called Chasers, couldn't wait to play baseball with his older brothers. And he loved his dinosaur toys and he liked to pretend that he was a superhero. Of the three, they say Chase was the best little cuddler. And their killer, the man who should have protected them, is sitting in Claremont County Jail. He pleaded not guilty to 21 charges, including aggravated murder and kidnapping.
And that's your recap.
Thanks for hanging out with us today.
If you like getting all the crime in half the time, go ahead and tap that subscribe button and the bell so you never miss a story.
What y'all think? Like, this guy disgusts me. I literally loathe him.
It just feels great.
I'm gonna
in the rain.
I'm gonna put their link in the chat because they cover in quicker videos, which I like. I like that at least. So, it's just so disturbing, man. Let's see. So now let's go to what he's trying to pull now, and we'll discuss.
Hearing is still underway for Chad Doerman as his defense pushes to get his confession thrown out of the case. His defense says Doerman clearly asked for a lawyer during police questioning, but instead of police stopping their interrogations, they continued. Prosecutors say they have ample evidence to dispute that claim. So we want to get you back into court now. On the stand is Detective Michael Ross. He led the investigation. Let's get you back into court.
I said, Dad, what did he say about Ruby Franklin?
He said that she was in the CIA. And I said, well, is she a lawyer in the CIA? And he said, she's in the CIA. So neither name that he gave me were even close to lawyers.
And after that, so you were able to confirm that neither Keith Doerman nor Ruby Franklin were lawyers and that he was aware they were not lawyers.
Correct.
And so once you confirmed that neither Keith Doerman or Ruby Franklin were lawyers, what did the defendant do?
He changes the conversation and starts
Hello to everybody coming in.
talking to me about whether he knew me or didn't know me. He changes the conversation. We're talking about lawyers and who I can call, and he completely changes the subject on me to, what I talked about earlier about knowing him from 2015.
So when he changes the context of the conversation, was that in response to a question you had asked him?
No.
So he just says something along the lines of, I don't think I've ever met you before.
Yeah, he just continues talking about something unrelated to the lawyer issue that I was trying to clarify.
So did he ever clarify for you?
No.
So when he changed the conversation subject, what did you think at that point?
I thought that he was playing games with me and trying to control the interview.
So can you describe the defendant's demeanor as you then continued the interview?
Yes, it continued the same. His demeanor continued to be the same. When I would ask questions that were unrelated to what had happened that day, he knew the answers right away and had lots of details and could remember things. When I asked him about the tough questions about did you shoot your sons, the things that really showed that he had some culpability in that whole situation, he didn't know, and he struggled to answer, and he would rock back and forth in his chair and just had extreme anxiety about those tough questions.
So was there a very different manner in which he would answer you depending on the topic of the question?
Yes, if it was unrelated to what happened that day, it was very easy for him to answer, and it was very difficult if it was about what happened that day.
And as the interview continued at approximately 1 hour, 35 minutes, 50 seconds into the interview, did the defendant make another reference to a lawyer?
He did. The conversation was about Laura, his wife. We were talking about Laura, and I was asking him questions about Laura. And then he, again, interrupts me and says, "Who's the lawyer?" And at the time, I thought that he said, "Who's Laura?" Because we were talking about Laura. So I looked at him and I said, "Who's Laura?" And he corrected me. He said, "The lawyer."
So when he corrected you, he just said the lawyer.
Yeah, he said, "The lawyer."
Did he correct you in any way on the question, who is the lawyer?
No, I said, "Who's Laura?" And he said, "The lawyer."
And did that mean anything to you at that point?
No, I was confused what he was talking about. I was still trying to figure out why we're talking about Laura. And now he's saying, "Who's the lawyer?" So I said, "I don't know. You tell me."
And what was his response?
Oh, thank you. Thank you, Okie. If you got Okie's membership, make sure to thank her. Thank you, love. Tanka.
Welcome to the hippie hut.
Welcome.
He just kind of went, like he didn't know either or didn't care.
Hey, Grain. Good morning.
And at any point during the interview, did the defendant deny shooting his sons that day?
Yes, multiple times throughout the entire interview till the very end.
And was there a point during the interview in which the defendant was taken to use the restroom?
Yes, he had made some comments that he believed his wife Laura had poisoned him, and I offered a urine test, which he consented to.
What do y'all think about that? Eavesdropper? No, baby. This is Chad Doerman. This was a court appearance because they're trying to get his murder confession suppressed. So we're just going over that. Hey, Truth Seeker. Hey, baby. But what do y'all think about that? I think he's going to try to go for insanity. I really do.
And so did you escort him to the restroom, or did a uniformed deputy escort him?
No, a uniformed Deputy Greer escorted him to the restroom for that urine test.
And as a uniformed deputy, Deputy Greer would have had a body-worn camera, correct?
He was in uniform and he would have had a body camera, but because he was going to the bathroom for obvious reasons, if there wasn't, any type of recording where he would have been exposed or anything like that.
And to your knowledge, did Deputy Greer ask any questions during that trip to and from the restroom?
He did not.
And did you?
I did not.
Were there any other points during the course of the interview that the defendant was left alone in the interview room?
Yes, there were times where I left the interview room where he would be in there with Detective Green. There was times where Detective Green left the interview room and we would be in there alone together. And then there was also a time where we both left the interview room and Mr. Doerman was in there by himself.
And what, if anything?
All right, we'll step aside, take a break here. We'll have more from that courtroom in Ohio when we come back. Give it here on Court TV. Tonight, in closing arguments, we're in a verdict watch in the case against Adam Montgomery. The New Hampshire father is accused of murdering his missing 5-year-old daughter, Harmony, that ended in tragedy. It's underway.
Closing arguments.
Back to court in Ohio. Let me bring in my guests. Joining us to discuss, trial attorney Krista Ramey and LA County Deputy Public Defender Philip Dubay is with us as well. Thank you both for joining me here on the program. And Krista, I'll start with you because I want to get both your opinions on this one. I can tell you, as a defense attorney, when I saw the questioning and I saw the words being used by this defendant, my red flags went right up. Krista, I want to know what you think about this one.
I did too. I think that you're hearing, well, it wasn't clear and unequivocal ask for a lawyer, but was it? I think that I think that's a very good argument that he very clearly asked for a lawyer. He says that, who's my lawyer? Who's the lawyer? He doesn't have to have a lawyer. He doesn't have to have a lawyer on retainer. When he gave his dad's information, that could have been for him to speak to his father so he could have gotten a name for a lawyer. The fact is that he did request a lawyer. And at that point, all questioning has to stop. You can't continue to question. So you stop questioning and you figure out what's going on. Does he really want a lawyer? Because he had previously waived his rights. So, you can really kind of maybe nail him down a little bit because it sounds like he might have been a little off. His mental state at this point might be a little questionable. He wasn't making a lot of sense. So I can understand maybe trying to drill down on it. But you drill down on the point of, do you actually want a lawyer? And if you are unclear about it, I think as a law enforcement officer, you have to stop the questioning until you are clear about it.
And Philip, I think that's what makes this hearing so important because we know at this point, this guy did something that's reprehensible. There's just no defending it. But his rights have to be protected. I mean, he's exactly the type of defendant that needs to be protected. And officers,
Let's pause this real quick. Jen, I seen your comment, babe. Jen B. Yes, we have heard that. We are not confirming it. Thank you, Okie. Because it shouldn't have been put out by anybody but them. So we're just not going to discuss it until they discuss it.
Police, those in power, need to understand that if someone mentions a lawyer, the questioning has to stop. They have rights just like everyone else. And that's why this is so important, even with these horrible facts.
Of course it is. And this is exactly why a lot of states have passed their own laws requiring all police interrogation interviews to either be videotaped or at a minimum audio recorded, so that it's not a fight between a defendant and law enforcement. The cops.
Say it again for the ones in the back, Cammy. No, bitches. Those babies' rights need to be protected. But I guess his rights need to be protected too, so that we can make sure that when he's nailed down for good.
Can take the stand at a Miranda hearing and just simply say that the defendant was advised of his rights, that he understood his rights, and that he waived his rights. The court needs to actually hear all that. There should be something in evidence to corroborate it. Otherwise, you're stuck. Now, I must say, though, that the law is pretty clear throughout the nation. Edwards versus Arizona, and of course, we have the Minnick case out of Mississippi that says essentially that once a defendant invokes his right to counsel, in other words, says, I want a lawyer, all interrogation by the police must stop. The problem with a lot of defendants is they don't affirmatively ask for a lawyer. They'll say something odd like, where's my lawyer? And the response could be, we're lawyers.
Oh, shit. I hit the wrong button. Oops. Sorry, guys. Hold on. Let's get back through here.
Those are the legal constitutional buzzwords for the cops, and they know they're dead in the water. And short of getting him his lawyer or the defendant himself reinitiating communication with the police, they got to stop.
Well, let me ask you this.
The remedy is exclusion.
Yeah, absolutely. At least everything up until the point where he asked for a lawyer would be allowed in, but anything after that is a problem. But Krista, you talked about it earlier. He basically says something to the effect of,
well, the thing is, he confessed before ever even mentioning anything about a lawyer. So, and Yep said it earlier, like, this case is pinned down. No matter what, you're guilty, dude. That's why I think he's going to try to plead insanity.
Give me a couple of days. Let me talk to a lawyer so I can get my answers right. Something along that line. Does that rise to the level? Philip makes a good point. You can make these odd statements that can be or are open to misinterpretation, but does this rise to the level?
That statement says to me, I want to talk to a lawyer. And so if he wants to talk to a lawyer, you better get him that lawyer if he can't afford one, because one will be appointed to him. We know our Miranda rights. It is, to Philip's point, I think Philip makes a very good point. That's why it's important that these interrogations are recorded, whether it's through body, the Miranda rights are given with a peace officer wearing a body-worn camera or in an interrogation room, because when you have someone who maybe isn't as clear, I don't know that people really speak the way that courts would like us to speak. I want a lawyer. So I think that that's the problem here, is that he didn't use those exact words.
Yeah, that gives them that little window that I think is what the state is arguing as well. All right, stand by, guys. I do want to take folks back to court now. Still on the stand, Detective Michael Ross. He did the interview, this interview that the defense is trying to get thrown out. Let's get back into court for more of his direct examination.
Again, he continued recording audio and video. He said, almost like under his breath, like a whisper, she let me do. Another time, it looked like he was checking the back of his shirt for blood. There was another point where he's looking around and he says, where's the cameras? Where's the cameras? So he was looking for cameras. And then that picture that I talked about earlier was still on the table. There was another point when he was in there by himself where he looked at it and kind of flicked it away from himself, like in disgust.
And all of those things occurred while he was alone in the interview room?
Yes.
Now, in between those times where he was left alone, did you come back in and pick up the interview again?
Yes.
And as the interview continued, did he continue to refuse to talk about what had actually happened that day?
Yes, he said that he didn't remember, he didn't know, he didn't understand why he was there.
But did he provide you with other information that made you believe he was aware of what was going on and what had happened that day?
Yes, because as the interview went on, it was like a slow drip of information. I would gain a little bit, and then we would keep talking, and then I would gain a little bit more information. He had lots of details about a lot other things, other aspects of his life, but again, couldn't remember what happened that day.
And what kind of details specifically stick out to you that he was able to provide you during the course of the interview?
Things like we wanted his safe combination so we could check the safe, and he knew that, the safe combination. He knew a lot of details about who had access to that safe and who didn't. He had extensive details about when the last time Laura shot his gun, which was about 10 years ago, and who else was shooting the guns, and a lot of details about things like that.
And so again, did the trend continue that when you began to talk
This fool knows exactly what he did. Like, come on, man.
about his culpability, he lost all recognition of what was going on, but when you were talking about other details, he was fine answering your questions?
Yes.
Now, the interview, when that records at your department, it cannot record more than like 2 hours.
All right, we'll take a break here. When we come back, the defense gets their opportunity to cross-examine the detective. Keep it here on Court TV. Chad Doerman's defense team is trying to get a confession that he gave to police that he executed his own sons thrown out. They're claiming, of course, that he wasn't read his Miranda rights properly and that he asked for a lawyer, but the questioning continued. I understand.
Do y'all remember that cop that was hold on, am I muted? Hold on. No, I'm not muted. Do y'all remember that cop that was taking him to the car? And he told him, you have a right to shut the fuck up.
The detective who did that interview, that questioning, that interrogation, Detective Michael Ross, he's on cross-examination now. And Doerman's attorneys is asking him about the reading of those Miranda rights. Let's get back into court.
All right. Now, you discussed briefly the Miranda rights. You did not read all the Miranda rights on Safety Exhibit 3, did you? On your card?
Word for word? No.
Well, you left out some pretty important parts, didn't you?
No, I think I covered the important parts, and he understood that he had the right to an attorney, and he had the right to have an attorney if he could not afford one. Okay. Those are the important parts, and he understood that.
He said, you got the right to shut the fuck up. That cop was, because you can imagine, like, they just walked up to this grieving mother hovering over her dead 3 children in the front yard. Like,
You left out the part as far as that right to an attorney is. You did say you have the right to talk to a lawyer for advice before we ask you any questions. But the part of the card goes on to say, and to have a lawyer with you during questioning. You did not read that part, did you?
No.
Why not?
That kind of is redundant. It kind of repeats itself, and it's not the important part for me.
Well,
sorry, go ahead.
it's all, and see, this is where I feel like they fuck up. It's all important. Like, your Miranda rights are your Miranda rights for a reason. Like, you need to read them, every single word of it. Don't be skipping around. Don't be lazy with it. Just fucking read them the way they're meant to be read. Because shit like this is what can happen.
One's talking about advice before you question. The other's talking about having a lawyer present during questioning, isn't it?
Yes. I'm not a robot. I probably should have read the entire card, but I'm not a robot.
You ain't got to be.
And then you read it. You cannot afford a lawyer. One will be appointed that you left out for you before any questioning if you wish, right?
Again, yes, I must have left that out.
You did testify that you said, do you understand? You didn't say you understand these rights. You said, do you understand? But he already said yes before that, right?
He said, yep. And I said, do you understand? And he said, mm-hmm, and shook his head, yes.
Okay. And then you left out, are you willing to answer some questions, correct?
Is that on the card?
Well, do you not?
I could.
See, nah, bullshit. He knows that that's on that card. See, it's petty little shit like that, man. Do better.
I can tell you word for word what's on the card. I can tell you essentially what the card says.
What is that, Mr. I'm sorry.
Hey, Deborah.
Yeah, that's it. And yes, it does say, you have highlighted, are you willing to answer some questions? I did not ask that.
Right, Queen Bella.
Why you did not ask that?
No, because I believed that he wanted to talk to me based on our short interaction earlier in the interview where I said that I wanted to talk to him. And he said, that's fine. Actually, I said, I want to talk to you if that's okay. And he said, that's fine.
Were you afraid he was going to say no?
No,
I talk to you?
No, I wasn't afraid. I'm just not a robot. I didn't read the card word for word. I read to him his Miranda rights and Miranda warnings.
How many interviews do you think you've done, Detective?
probably hundreds as a detective and probably thousands as a road patrol.
How many times do you think you've given Miranda rights to suspects before interviewing?
Well, sometimes I don't read Miranda because they're not in custody and it's not needed. Sometimes I read them from that card, and sometimes I have them sign a written waiver of Miranda warnings. Probably hundreds, if not thousands.
Okay.
I don't know.
Now, you said that you were, well, I'm going to put words in your mouth, but you just talked about he asked for a lawyer, or whether he asked for a lawyer, what he said in regards to getting a lawyer, and that you were trying to clarify that, I think is how you put it.
I said that he muddied the water, and I felt obligated to explore that.
So then, if it wasn't clear to you, why did you say, I understand?
I wonder the same thing. Eavesdropper, I really do.
Again, because I'm trying to connect and develop rapport with him, and what I did understand was that he was confused. So I explored it.
Well, you said, I understand, and then you basically asked him, do you have a lawyer? And he went down that path, correct?
I said, I understand. Very softly said, I understand.
Okay.
Because I'm trying to continue that rapport that I'm developing with him. But what I really understood was the comments he just made were not clear, and I needed to clarify that.
So you were confused about what he said, but you said, I understand. Is that what you're saying?
I'm saying that I said, I understand, because I am calmly talking to him, developing rapport. But what I really understood was he just muddied the water with what the comments that he just made in the single breath about he really didn't know. His words, I really don't know. If he doesn't know, I don't know what he wants.
Well, I really don't know. You took that to reflect on his request for a lawyer, or what he'd been talking about up to the minute before?
No, we were talking about his request to wait for a lawyer. I really don't know. If he doesn't know, I don't know.
So.
Okay. So, I mean, yeah. If he don't know, how's he supposed to know?
Are you buying that this detective was confused about what this defendant wanted and he wasn't sure about the Miranda rights? I'm struggling with that. All right.
I kind of do believe that he didn't. Now, the Miranda rights, I don't understand why he left those few little things out. Maybe just skirting it. You know, he's used to reading these out. No, just skimming it, kind of. But I do think that he is possibly confused about what Chad Doerman's wanting in terms of a lawyer or not.
We'll take a break. We'll have more on the other side. Keep it here.
Watching the case against Adam Mcdougal, experts break down the film's armor. Closing argument.
Yes, joining us to discuss, trial attorney Chris Doerman and LA County Public Defender Philip Dubé. And Philip, I'll start with you. As I said, going out to the break, I'm struggling with some of the testimony here by this detective. On the one hand, the state is saying, hey, part of their argument is that, this guy, this defendant, he had some experience with the system. He was comfortable. He was treated well. On the other side, you got a detective who's very experienced, has done thousands of these. And I'm struggling to believe that he didn't know better, not only about the request for the lawyer, but also the Miranda rights.
Of course, and that's why we do these Miranda hearings in front of a judge. A judge can see right through this. It's so transparent. It's not even funny. But the truth be told, unless there is an affirmative invocation, I hate to say it, the cop can use these types of weasel words, as I call them, to try to salvage this confession or whatever statement he gave. That's what they're going to do. And frankly, Michael, if we're honest, with all the other evidence that they have, they don't even really need this statement. So why even compromise your integrity, your believability as a detective on the case? They shouldn't be pulling these types of shenanigans. It's offensive to our system of justice. It's repugnant. But I do agree with you. He knows better. And I find it also disingenuous that he needs his little Miranda card, like a little flash card to read from verbatim, as if it's not indelibly etched in his brain. He must have Mirandized hundreds, if not thousands of people over the years, and to not know Miranda rights strains credulity as well.
I agree. There's not a defense attorney, there's not a prosecutor, detective, police officer who doesn't know that like the back of their hand. You can't tell me that's not the case. So, Krista, to Philip's point, what is the reason? Why are they fighting it? And why is this important?
I don't know why, but if you I've seen on true crime shows, investigators pull out those cards and read off the Miranda rights all the time. I think it's because you were expected to memorize it. The system is more lax now. So instead of making that a crucial part of moving on in your career with law enforcement, they're just like, here, take this card and make sure you read it to people. Like, it's just really lazy.
To the defense, considering all the other evidence we know is there.
Well, first of all, I think all lawyers know this. I think the three of us probably knew that. For our first year of law school, in our criminal procedure class, we had this memorized, right? I think that you don't do the sloppy detective work, and I think that you fight it because there is some argument for equivocation. I disagree with Philip to the extent that I think that he thinks it's a lot more loosey-goosey in terms of invoking a right. I think that he did invoke a right, and then the questioning by the detectives.
Sometimes, Winnie, sometimes they do written ones.
Is what made it, this detective is what made it more confusing. So that's kind of where I land on this.
All right, fair enough. And you know, again, a judge could certainly go in that direction, as Philip mentioned, without the, the straightforward invocation of the right. So, and this is a high bar. Let's not, sugarcoat it. This is something that generally doesn't happen in the system. All right, guys, let's go back to court now for continued cross-examination with Detective Michael.
That is not true. And see, that's what I don't like about these, I don't even know, these broadcasters, these newscasters, whatever you want to call them, for Law and Crime and Court TV. Like, why even exaggerate that? Like, is it a big deal? Yes. Does it happen all the time? Abso-fucking-lutely. Like, why are you pretending like this is going to be some huge obstacle? Without the confession, it doesn't fucking matter. Dude is done.
Ross. Should we get you a lawyer? Why'd you do that?
I don't know why I didn't say that. I explored it the way that I felt was appropriate.
So what do you understand you're supposed to do when a suspect who's in custody clearly asks for a lawyer?
If they clearly ask for a lawyer, which I've done on other cases, on other homicide cases, they clearly ask for a lawyer, I stop questioning them,
right?
Which I've done before. In this case, he did not clearly say he wanted a lawyer.
But you said that you tried to clarify with him. That's what you're saying, these questions you asked him about, whether he had a lawyer or not, were designed to do.
I did try to explore that and clarify his comments, but he continued playing games with me.
Then you took him playing games with you by, when you asked if he could name a lawyer, he said his dad's name, Chad Doerman, right?
Yes, who's not a lawyer.
Right. And then he said Ruby Franklin, and she's in the CIA.
Yes, who's also not a lawyer, and somebody who he knows is not a lawyer.
So that's why he feels like he was playing games with them.
Now, this was Thursday afternoon, right?
Yes.
In fact,
hey, Sandy Lou,
you were involved, and we were waiting for a verdict on another jury case in this very courtroom at that point, right? Do you remember that, the Marvin Armbruster case?
I do remember.
At this point, it's irrelevant.
It's irrelevant. So.
Well, if you knew how to get a hold of a lawyer, you knew he didn't have a lawyer, what are you supposed to do?
If he doesn't have a lawyer?
I mean, you don't think the rule is that he has to name a lawyer or he doesn't get one, do you?
If he says, I want a lawyer, I stop my interview, which I've done on other homicide investigations. That's
right. That's the problem. He didn't say, I want a lawyer.
My obligation.
Asking, who is my lawyer? Where is my lawyer? I mean, yeah, it's got the word lawyer in it, but it's not saying, I want my lawyer here now.
He didn't say that in this case.
So you asked him questions about naming a particular lawyer, and he was not successful in doing that, right?
I was trying to explore those muddy water comments that he had just made to me by asking if there was somebody that I could call.
What about the public defender's office? You knew where I was, right? You knew where we were.
That's his thing.
Why
Did you know
would
how to reach anybody in the public defender's office?
Whoa, now, hold up. Why would he call the public defender's office for Chad if Chad did not ask him to do so? Like, you want these detectives to help him out after he just murdered his 3 sons? They're not going to do that. They're not going to throw him a fucking bone and say, hey, you should take advantage of our public defender. Miss me with it.
Got objection?
It's sustained. It's asking for speculation. Just
I was asking what he knows, Judge.
Pretty much answered this question multiple times that he was trying to explore that. And, so I think we can move on.
All right. And I'm sorry, you said you let him, or you took him, gave him a bathroom break at some point. What point in the process was that, according to it?
It was on the latter end, not the front end. It was, I couldn't say exactly when it was without referring to the video, but it was towards more than halfway is what I'm trying to say, I believe.
Now, I recall one part of it where he asked for a break. Do you remember that?
Yeah, there was another part where he begged me to take his cuffs off because he's not going to hurt anybody.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. You did not take his cuffs off, right?
No, he doesn't control the interview. I do.
That's right.
Okay. So he asked for.
That's fucking right. Tell him again.
Break.
He don't control that interview. I control this motherfucking interview. That's right.
He didn't get the break, did he? Not then.
Well, I don't know exactly what break you're referring to, but no problem. The break that he had was when he went to the restroom with Deputy Greer.
Okay.
Somewhere beyond halfway.
And you don't know when that is in time in reference to when he asked for a break?
Not specifically. I'm sorry.
Okay.
That's all. Wrap it up.
All right, that's going to wrap up our coverage for today. Once testimony wrapped up, the judge asked for memos from both sides and said that she would take it under advisement and rule in the coming days. The hearing is still underway.
All right. So y'all heard it within the next couple of days. And this was 4 days ago. So at any point now, we should be finding out if they're going to knock his confession out. I personally do not think they're gonna knock the confession out. But I also think if they do, it doesn't matter. But I'll also think that this is a coward ass move. You knew what you did. Don't trying to play stupid and act like you don't understand. You knew exactly what you fucking did. So, yeah, rotten hell, Chad Doerman. I said it. Did y'all vote on the poll? Make sure you vote on the poll. Let me know if y'all think that he's going to try to plead insanity. Oh, y'all have voted. Okay, in poll. Let's see. 90% of you think he's going to try to plead insanity. I love you too, Cammie. I'm trying. I try to make these tough cases a little lighter. So I guess we'll just see. Let's see what the judge says, and then I guess we're gonna see what he tries to plead. What I will say too, though, is that he's looking a lot healthier. If you look at my thumbnail, and I heard, of course, this hasn't been confirmed because we haven't made it into trial or anything, but I heard he was an alcoholic, and when he was arrested, he looked like his blood pressure was stupid high. But he didn't look very healthy. Now he looks healthy. So I don't know. Maybe he was. Maybe he was an alcoholic. I don't know. Hold on. Let me see something. I was looking for something else. I don't. Here it is. Okay, so the next thing that we're going to go over is stupid ass Mcdougal in the Audrey Cunningham case. I don't know if y'all have seen this. Oh my God, it's awful. It's awful. Okay, let me see. Let me pull it up. I think I got 2 different videos, but I didn't know which one. Let me pause this. I didn't know which one to do, so we'll watch both and see what the difference is. This is Don Stephen Mcdougal's arraignment. This dude went into the arraignment butt naked. Butt naked. Lord.
The Polk County Jail, it gives us a glimpse of Don Mcdougal's actions after he was charged with killing Audrey Cunningham.
The video shows Mcdougal as he is being arraigned on charges of capital murder. Our Maya Shea joins us now live with a video you will only see here on 13.
That's right. The video actually in the event, the arraignment happened on Wednesday, but we were just given the video as of today. It was made available today. And what's shocking, as you will see in the video, I think is really Mcdougal's
right,
demeanor.
Melissa?
He seemed to be laughing at points. And what's also shocking is he's not clothed. He actually faces arraignment wearing nothing more than a blanket wrapped around his waist.
We got Steve Mcdougal, Don Mcdougal. We're going to get him out to get arraigned.
As Polk County Sheriff's deputies opened the cell door, they were clearly shocked that Don Mcdougal, charged with the brutal murder of 11-year-old Audrey Cunningham, had taken off all his clothes.
Come on. JP wants to talk to you. Where's your clothes? Hold on.
I ain't got no clothes.
Well, put your smock on for now. Well, come on out here.
Do you hear him? I ain't got no clothes. I ain't wearing no dress. Let's rewind that. Such a piece of shit. I don't even like hearing his voice.
No dress.
Well,
I ain't got no clothes.
well, put your smock on for now.
Dress.
Well, come on out here. Well, no, man. You come on, man. Don't disrespect me like that.
I ain't wearing no dress.
All right, well, wrap up in that. Wrap up in the blanket. Come on. Come on.
Mcdougal, seemingly wearing a smirk on his face, walks over to the justice of the peace to hear the charges against him.
You have the right to remain silent and not make any statement at all, and know that any statement that you make can and will be used against you at trial in court. You have the right to have an attorney present to advise you prior to or during the questioning.
Mcdougal is currently facing an aggravated assault charge in addition to the capital murder charge in the killing of little Audrey. This arraignment, though, is only for the capital murder charge.
You have the right to terminate any interview at any time, and you have the right to examine your trial if you're accused of a felony. Do you understand your rights, Mr. Mcdougal? Yep. Okay. Do you want a court-appointed attorney or you going to hire your own?
Nope.
Which one?
I'll get an attorney.
You going to hire your own?
Yep.
Okay. All right. All I need you to do is sign right here for me. Your charge is capital murder, and it's a no bond.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Good enough.
Capital murder, no bond.
Yeah, and with that, this entire interaction lasted less than 2 minutes. He went back to his cell, again, being held at no bond. The next step, we should see an official indictment once this case is presented to a grand jury. Public records do not indicate whether or not Mcdougal has so far hired an attorney. But
she said Mcdougal. Oh, I'm an asshole. Hold on, let me. She said Mcdougal. Mcdougal. She got tongue-tied. Remix. All right, got another one. I don't know how much of the video it is, but let's see. Let's blow it up. Why can't
February.
Oh yeah, it's okay. So it's 1 minute and 49 seconds.
21st, we got Steve Mcdougal, Don Mcdougal. We're going to get him out to get arraigned. Steve, come on. JP wants to talk to you. Where's your clothes? Hold on.
I ain't got no clothes.
Well, put your smock on for now. Well, come on out here. Well, no, man. Come on, man. Don't disrespect me like
I ain't
that.
wearing no dress.
All right, well, wrap up in that.
I can't help but say, like, I know it's innocent until proven guilty, but him saying, don't disrespect me like that, he just probably sexually assaulted and probably unalived this little girl.
Wrap up in the blanket.
And you expect him to respect you? Nasty ass dude.
Come on. Come on. Steve, come on. Let her arraign you real quick. Come on. Huh? Well, you got to get up and sign some paperwork. Come on.
Come there, here, I ain't signing shit.
Come on, wrap up for me. Appreciate you. Come on, wrap up for me. Come on. Wrap up in the blanket.
See, you didn't show this part right here.
Come on. Come on. Steve, come on. Let her arraign you real quick. Come on. Huh? Well, you got to get up and sign some paperwork. Come on.
Come there, here, I ain't signing shit.
Come on, wrap up for me. Appreciate you.
All right, Mr. McDougal, I'm Judge Richardson. I'm going to read your rights, and we're going to talk about your charge today. You have the right to remain silent, not make any statement at all, and know that any statement that you make can will be used against you at trial in court. You have the right to have an attorney present to advise you prior to or during the questioning. If you can't afford one, you do have the right to have an attorney present to advise you or during the questioning. You have the right to terminate any interview at any time, and you have the right to examine your trial if you're accused of a felony. Do you understand your rights, Mr. McDougal?
Yep.
Okay. Do you want a court-appointed attorney, or you're going to hire your own?
Nope.
Which one?
I'll get an attorney.
You're going to hire your own? Yep. All right. All I need you to do is sign right here for me. Your charge is capital murder, and it's a no bond.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. All right, this time we're going to go ahead and turn off the cameras.
You ain't finna hire shit. You ain't finna hire no lawyer. Where you gonna find a lawyer? Like, yeah, everybody can find a lawyer. Where you gonna get the money to hire a lawyer? You's living in a camper in this child's backyard. But that is how you read Miranda rights. Can we reflect on that? She read it word for word, beginning to end. Yeah, he needs something. He needs a priest. He needs Jesus. He needs something. Old piece of shit. Hey, VK, sir. Hey, Spitfire. Shauna. Hey. So, I don't know. What do y'all think? I think he's guilty. I know it's innocent until proven guilty, but I do think he's guilty. And I do think Chad Doerman is guilty, and I think they both deserve to rot in hell. Yeah, take them out. Bring back old Sparky. Where's old Sparky when you need him? Just woke up and seen me on. I know I'm an early bird lately. I'm an early bird. Tweet, tweet. Yeah, he's guilty. I think so too, Granny. Oh, nasty. I don't like just what is going through. Like, okay, you've been there with them for a while, right? And this child's been left in your care often. Like, would you not develop a love for this child as if she's like your niece? Like, I don't understand how somebody can be with, in a caretaker position. Well, I don't know. I guess I'm talking out of my ass because moms kill their kids all the time. We just seen Chad Doerman killed his 3 kids, and he used to change their diapers, put them to sleep. I'm sure he did all that too. So it's like, but I don't know, just taking her out of nowhere and unaliving her, throwing her in that river. Ugh. It's awful. Both those pieces of shit are guilty. Ain't no changing my mind on that, Tim. Oh, yeah. Yeah, Kath Wells. Yeah, absolutely. Wouldn't that be something, Tasha? I think that if our government would do that, we'd have a lot less crime. And then, of course, you're going to still have those that don't give a fuck. Look, she said, I think the crime they did to any child should be the same crime for them. That would be that show. No, that wasn't the same crime. No, but like, huh? No, I didn't know you needed more. No, I still had a pack. Huh, 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 huh. I literally only stopped and got a monster this morning. I love you. Eye for an eye. Mm-hmm. That's true, Christy. Like, we were just talking about this the other day, how, like, our brains aren't meant to work the way these people's brains work, right? So, no matter how hard we try to understand why somebody would get to that point or what was going through somebody's mind, we're never going to be able to figure it out because our brains don't work that way. But these two cases, like, especially Doerman, I'm really in on. So I just wanted to come live and do a little update with him because I seen he was trying to get his confession thrown out. And I was like, no freaking way. What a pussy move. I'm sorry. I know people don't like that word, but that's a pussy move. Like, bro, you don't have... Don't nobody need your confession. Your stepdaughter took off running and telling people that her stepdad was killing everybody. The mother of the children was there and seen you do it. The neighbors across the street seen you do it. We don't need your confession, my dude. Fuck your confession. Right, Spitfire? Like, what are you doing? More than two because the neighbors across the street. Like, come on, man. Come on, man. Don't be a hoo-ha. Own up to what you did and suffer the consequences. Plain and simple. I mean, like, I don't think I would even, again, that goes back to how our minds don't work like their minds. Like, I don't think I would even want to live if I knew I just killed my 3 kids. Ugh. It's just so gross. But while we were discussing these 2 terrible piece of shit human beings, I hope that I made it a little lighter for you. Because there's nothing light and there's nothing funny about these cases. All right, guys, that's going to be it for me. I appreciate y'all hanging out with me and coming by and checking the updates with me. We're going to see if Chad's going to get that confession thrown out. And we're just going to wait and see if stupid Mcdougal, if he's able to find a lawyer. All right, guys. Thanks for hanging out with me. Love ya. Catch you on the flip side. Bye. Okay, I just ended the show, but Turtle Madness said don't leave. What's up, Turtle Madness? Everything good? We okay? What's going on? I didn't want to ride out when I seen you said don't leave. Hey, Deetsy. Turtle Madness. Oh my goodness. You got me sitting on the edge of my seat. You said don't leave. Is everything okay? Let me save this before I leave. Let's see. Oh, I guess Turtle Madness left. Okay. I just wanted to give her a chance in case she wanted to say something. Now, I'll catch you guys on the flip side.